What if Gerudo Town was invaded in Breath of the Wild? How would the game react? We get to see crazy desert fights in Age of Calamity, but what if we tried that out in Breath of the Wild? Let's find out. One of the best things about Breath of the Wild is that you constantly run into situations that will make you just stop and watch the world before you. The way seemingly random situations line up and present something new and entertaining happens often, and it's truly rewarding to experiment. But even with our curiosity and drive having no limits, unfortunately there are just some situations that we cannot force or encounter normally in the game. Sure, you can lead a horse to water, but will it drink? Sometimes that journey is too long. So in this video, we're going to introduce some chaos to the world of Hyrule by making that journey both instantaneous, but also by creating impossible situations. This is the Gerudo Town invasion in Breath of the Wild. An invasion that did not go as planned at all. So what sparked this whole idea to invade Gerudo Town? Well, for starters, besides Hyrule Castle, it's arguably one of the most lively and well-guarded areas in the game. There are guards stationed all throughout town, and tons of merchants and townsfolk wandering about. Not to mention, the guards won't put up with Link at all if he starts slashing his sword around. But that's only part of the puzzle. So in rare instances out in the wilderness, it's possible for NPCs to come in contact with standard foot soldier enemies. And when this happens, the NPC can actually battle it out with that particular foe. After enough attacks, the NPC can actually be knocked unconscious as they fall to the ground. And that's pretty neat. So the NPC out here defended themselves. But will a whole town do the same? So of course, when you're going to invade a town, there's really only one way to do it. Guardians. I mean, why bring anything else other than lasers of death? Guardians are not normally encountered near Gerudo Town at all, so I started off by spawning one right outside the town to get warmed up. While I was dodging attacks out here in the ruins outside of town, I was really curious to know if enemy Guardians would target characters other than Link. I mean, regular enemies would go after NPCs, so could Guardians wipe out the town? So I defeated the Guardian at the ruins and moved to the front of town. Also, Link can't down NPCs himself by swinging at them. Just thought I'd point that out. So I gear up in my non-Vo attire, and being the Guardian Necromancer that I am, I plunged the town into chaos, Guardian after Guardian. And this is where things got really weird. So everyone in town is freaking out, screaming and shaking in fear as the place gets overrun by a handful of these metal doomsday spiders. But the Guardians themselves remained inactive. They would not attack me, and they would not attack anyone else nearby either. My first dumb thought was that perhaps it was my attire. So I took off my headpiece like an idiot and got ejected from town. But the Guardians still chilled inside and didn't try to chase after me. The only time they would attack would be in instant retaliation, like if I sniped them with my Master Sword. But after attacking, they would lose their aggravation and become peaceful again. To test a hypothesis I was starting to piece together, I decided to add a Guardian outside near the front guards. These guards, who are ruthless against anything normally, cowered in fear as the Guardian pulled up and started rubbing on them all awkwardly. I think it was trying to join its Guardian friends inside, but it couldn't fit through the door. It then ran away, and despite these two guards begging for their lives, they still stopped me from entering. And that's when I started to realize that even the Guardian out here wasn't aggressive, and it was the town area that was causing it. There is a range around town that causes almost all enemies within its radius to become non-aggressive when they step inside of it. Normally, enemies will hit this radius and choose not to enter. To test this theory out, I decided to start spawning in other enemies into the town. The Moldu King, when spawned, became dormant, and nothing I did made it wake up and try to chase me. I was really hoping it would start launching people in the air, but it just stayed still. I even tried to get a Guardian to shoot it and nothing happened, so I tried loading in Lizalfos, who were non-aggressive. Passive enemies are really weird, by the way. It's like you have an enemy mask on, but you don't. Yiga Blade Masters just nope the heck out of town as soon as they are loaded in. They essentially delete themselves from existence and never respawn, since every area around them is considered a safe area. NPCs who would normally battle monsters don't attack the monsters either because the monsters aren't dangerous, so they just anticipate an attack that never comes. Wizrobes don't care that you exist, and neither do Moblins. Keep in mind, some of these enemies are loaded in without weapons, which affects their mood. But even after they grab weapons later on, they still do the same thing. So I decided to bring out the big guns and load in a stone talus. But even this guy would not activate when I stood on him. The town seemingly negated almost all confrontations with any foe that was within. So the only way to wake up a stone talus then is to hit its weak spot underground. And that's a pain. However, I finally found it with a bomb, and the stone talus awakened. And to my surprise, it started blasting away the area. Of course, for those of you who watched my Lake Hylia video, you'll know that stone talus rocks cannot affect NPCs or other objects when thrown. The rocks just bounce off of people and trees, but they can still kill enemies. I tried getting other stone taluses to awaken in the area, but regardless of what I tried, they wouldn't wake up. And even if they did, they'd instantly go back to sleep even if I struck their weak point. The first stone towns went to sleep too once I decided to leave the shopping area, and the invasion basically fell flat on its face. Everyone was terrified, but no one did anything, and no monsters attacked. It was the most PG invasion I had ever witnessed. A failure, if I'm being honest. But I wanted to test that town immunity theory that I was talking about earlier, so I headed over to Kakariko Village and brought along my mechanical guardian friend. And just like before, the guardian was essentially blind to Link's movements. Almost like it was acting like it should before getting possessed by the Calamity. It looked around for threats and retaliated if something hit it, like me for example. But Kakariko Village does have another threat, and it's a blue rooster. Ever see a guardian get torn to shred by a flock of cuckoos? Well, just summon the horde and run nearby it. The cuckoos deal almost constant damage, and you can hear the guardian getting hit by what sounds like almost 100 attacks. The guardian also retaliates by trying to shoot the cuckoos, because they are technically the last thing to have damaged it. Eventually, they tore the legs off this beast and left it for dead. But that was my failed invasion. Towns have a barrier of immunity to prevent violence, and cuckoos make for an insane weapon. I hope you learned something in this experimental Breath of the Wild video. Drop a like if you did, because it really helps me out, and I'll see you all soon in my next adventure. Cheers!